I quickly left the room, running down the stairs. On the way, I used the radio to tell Song Jian, urging him to go to Sakata's hotel immediately. I burst out the door, jumped into a taxi, and went fast towards Sakata's hotel. At the entrance, I jumped out and within a minute, saw Song Jian across the street. We quickly looked at each other as Sakata and his secretary came out, each carrying a suitcase, and got into a car. We jumped into another taxi, telling the driver to follow them. In the back seat, I sighed, "Brother Song, if I had not made that call and heard her voice, we would have lost everything. Even if we win this, it will be by pure luck." Song Jian's eyebrows wrinkled. "Brother Wei, you think that Japanese man is my brother?" I shook my head. "It's hard to believe. And that messy Japanese woman being red. But don't forget, modern disguises are amazing. If we can fool others, so can they." Song Jian nodded quietly. "Now it's just us against them." By Kiwei, the police probably did not expect us to leave Manila so soon. "Maybe," I said, "but the Hong Kong police sent smart agents, probably in touch with local police. And I would not underestimate Bai Kiwei." The car ahead kept going, our taxi's meter showing a very high amount of money. The driver kept looking back. I slipped a $20 bill into his hand. "Keep following. This should be enough." He shouted "okay" a few times, and soon we left the city behind. Even outside the city, the car ahead showed no sign of stopping. After another half hour, the driver turned, making a pained face. "Out of gas." Song Jian and I almost jumped from our seats. In this situation, yelling at the driver would not help. We had to find another way. We got out of the taxi and watched the car ahead disappear around a bend. We walked slowly for half a kilometer to a small restaurant, where a waiter confirmed the road led only to the coast, just 3 or 4 kilometers away. Hope appeared. We hurried from the restaurant, running down the road, ignoring curious looks. Before we reached the coast, a car went fast past us, kicking up dust that covered us. As it made a loud sound and left, Bai Kiwei's mocking laughter was heard. Song Jian and I looked at each other angrily, our faces red with frustration. Bai Kiwei had been following Sakata too, and now he was ahead of us. Worse, he had probably figured out Song Jian's identity. That taxi without gas had cost us a lot. We reached the coast, a sleepy town with little activity except a few boat rental shops. Just as we were confused, wondering where Bai Kiwei and Sakata had gone, a man came closer. "Are you Mr. Song and Mr. Wei, by any chance?" We stopped, coughing awkwardly without answering. He smiled. "No need to be careful. I have a telegram from Old Man Bai." I was confused. How did he know we would be here? His telegram said if you did not come, I should not bother giving it. Earlier, 2 Japanese and 4 Chinese passed through, and I became suspicious. When I saw you two, I thought I would ask. Song Jian asked strongly, "Where is the telegram?" "Quick!" The man said, "Please, come to my shop." I interrupted, "We are in a hurry." He laughed softly. "Don't worry, I own the 3 fastest boats here. The fastest is reserved, but 2 others are rented out, one by the Japanese 2 days ago, and another just now. I used to be a small person in the King Gang. I have heard of you both." His skill made it clear he was not a small person, he was just being humble. We followed him to his boat rental office and sat in his room. He pulled a thick telegram from a drawer and handed it to us. We read it together. "To brothers Song and Wei, if you are reading this, I have thought for days and realized that brother you must have worked on one of the Philippines' many small islands. Song Fu will surely go to sea. I have sent a message to brother you here to prepare. Wishing you good journeys. Bye." To someone who did not know, Old Man Bai's telegram might seem like a puzzle with no answer, but to us, its meaning was very clear. It showed that the moment Old Man Bai learned Song Fu had gone to Manila, he understood that Treasurer Yu must have hidden that money on one of the more than 3,000 islands in the Philippines. How Old Man Bai suddenly understood this was beyond me. I had not seen it coming, and neither had Song Jian. The telegram did not say which island either, leaving us with more questions than answers. After reading it, I did not waste time. Turning to the man holding the telegram, I asked, "Did that Japanese man rent a boat to Thassel Island?" He looked surprised. "How did you know?" I explained quickly. "No time to waste, let's go after them." The man waited. "Look, I don't know what you two are doing, and it is not my place to ask. But there is something you need to know." "What is that?" I asked strongly. "Thassel Island is not on any map. It's a tiny spot hidden inside a ring of rocks." Song Jian shrugged. "So what?" The man continued, when the Japanese took over the Philippines, they planned to make it a base. The plan failed, but they left behind many weapons. After they left, it became the Hukbalahap's strong base. Song Jian and I looked at each other, both surprised by the name. The Hukbalahap, or Huk for short, was a very cruel bandit group, more lawless and violent than any other criminal group we had heard of, even worse than Italy's Black Hand Mafia. They grew strong on the scattered islands of the Philippines, moving between them to avoid being caught. If Thassel Island was their headquarters, going there was like signing our own death papers. Song Jian spoke softly. We don't have a choice, we have to go. The man replied, if you are very determined. He spoke very quietly. My fastest boat has 2 sofas in the cabin. Under each, you will find weapons and bullets. I keep them for pirates when I am at sea. Feel free to use them. We nodded, and he added, but I hope you will not need them. You are just 2 men, and there are at least 1,000 Huk fighters on that island. Song Jian clapped him on the shoulder. Thanks for the help. I hope we come back to see you. His voice was very serious, no joke, and I felt the same heavy feeling. Knowing Song Fu and Red were going to Thassel Island did not just put us in danger. It also made me fear for Red. The Huk were like modern-day cannibals with many weapons. Her situation was worse than her classmates' bad trip to New Guinea. The man gave a bitter smile, clearly feeling the same bad way about our chances. A safe return would be almost a miracle. Song Jian asked, does Old Man Bai have a return address for telegrams? Yes, the man said. Good. After we leave, send him a message with our location. He agreed, and Song Jian took a deep breath. Let's move, or we will lose them. The man led us out of his office to a small dock where a speedboat was waiting. As we got on, I cheered. I had once loved speedboats and knew their engines very well. This one was beautiful with 3 very good Swedish motors. 2 could run at once, and if one failed, the boat would not slow down. Even with 2 broken, the 3rd would keep us moving. I thought our friend was not just renting boat smuggling seemed more his speed, but I kept it to myself. He saw me looking at the engines and gave a knowing smile. Inside the cabin, he lifted the sofas, showing 2 boxes of bullets and 2 submachine guns. Song Jian laughed sharply. With these guns, we could take the whole island. The man did not smile. His face was serious. Then he took out a sea map covering 100 miles of sea, pointing out Thassel Island's location. On the map, Thassel was a dot surrounded by a ring-shaped rock, with only one opening to the northeast. I knew this trip was very risky. After looking at the map, I asked, have you been to the island, right? He shook his head. Not exactly. I have a few Huk contacts who have told me about it though. Tell us what you know, Song Jian and I said together. He walked around the cabin a few steps before answering. The ring around Thassel is not really an island, it's a big piece of rock sticking out of the sea, 60 meters high at its highest point, all very steep cliffs. It used to be a place for collecting bird nests, but since the Huk took over, no one has dared to go near it. He waited, then continued, that rock is a natural fortress for Thassel. The Huk only guard the opening with heavy weapons, nothing else needs it. Song Jian became excited. Then we can use that. Climb the cliffs and get past. No wall is too steep for me and Brother Wei. The man nodded. I had the same idea once. I said I had not been there, but I did climb those cliffs. The climbing gear is on the boat. The problem is, once I got up, I could not get down. Why not? Song Jian asked. The island is very secure. Every cave has a gun pointed at the water. If you step off the cliff, they will see you instantly. We stood there, surprised. The man shrugged. Maybe I did not have the courage. You too might succeed. From what I hear, the Huk leader is a very clever bad person, educated, cruel. He worked with the Japanese during the war. His name is Ricardo. I listened, already planning in my head. When he finished, he seemed to have nothing more to say. He looked at us, then went to the back of the boat. As he stepped onto the walking board, he turned back. If the Huk catch you, here is my advice, pray for a quick death. There was no threat in his voice, just cold truth. Song Jian and I were not cowards, but those words hit us hard. We shivered, our faces becoming pale. The unspoken horrors of the Huk's cruelty made the air heavy. He shook his head and walked onto the shore. We stood frozen for a moment. Then Song Jian said, Brother Wei, this is 7 gangs and 18 societies business. You don't, I stopped him, knowing he was about to tell me to give up. Brother Song, don't say it. I am in. He was a man who acted, not just talked. With a loud laugh, he went to check the submachine guns. I untied the ropes, started 2 engines, and steered us towards Thassel Island according to the map. The boat went very fast through the waves. 2 hours later, I looked at the horizon with binoculars and saw a group of rocks Thassel's outer ring. Dusk was coming, and the fading light made it hard to see if Bai Kiwei and Song Fu's boat was parked nearby. When we were still a safe distance away, I turned off the engines. Song Jian stepped out of the cabin. "Let's paddle closer," I said. "We don't want the Huck to hear us." He nodded. "Where are they?" I could hear the worry in his voice for his wayward brother, Song Fu, and for Bai Kiwei, Old Man Bai's son. It made sense. Song Fu was his only family, even though he was misguided, and Bai Kiwei was his sworn brother's child. Their safety worried him. I felt the same about Red. I did not understand why she had teamed up with Song Fu. I hated it, but I still cared about her, more than I could say. We rowed hard as night came, the sea becoming dark and strange. The rocks stood tall ahead, shining faintly under the stars like some ancient monster. When we got close, I checked my watch. 10:20 p.m. We circled the rock and found a cave. Inside, it was completely dark. I turned on a strong flashlight, showing a natural dock about 6 feet deep. We tied up the boat. Song Jian asked, "Should we swim out to look for them?" I thought about it. "No, they have probably already climbed the cliffs." "Your cousin does not know any martial arts," he said. "How could she climb them? She is probably hiding in a cave like this, not on the island itself." His words hit me hard. Our mission came with triple the danger. The Huck would not be kind to people who entered without permission, and Bai Kiwei and Song Fu had their own plans. We cared about them, but they would not hesitate to kill us if they saw us first. If I could find Red before we met them, she might help us. It would make a big difference. I nodded, and we each grabbed an inflatable small boat, rowing out of the cave. Of course, we brought along the submachine guns and bullets, as well as flashlights. After leaving the cave, we rowed along the rock, the water dark and still. Within half an hour, we had checked about 12 caves, each one a possible hiding place for a boat. In one cave, we found a speedboat. It was empty, but the scattered things confirmed it belonged to Bai Kiwei and his group. Their boat was here, but their fate, whether lucky or bad, remained unknown. We quickly went back out and continued forward, shining our flashlights into each cave one by one. Soon, we reached the opening in the ring of rocks. We stopped immediately. The opening was about 10 feet wide, a natural narrow point, perhaps the most dangerous in the world. Guarded, and no boat could pass through. At that moment, 2 strong lights from the rock lit up the sea below the opening, making the water shine. Song Jian and I stayed in the shadows, out of the light, using binoculars to look towards Thassel Island. Lights moved across the island, suggesting the Huckbalahap had their own power plant, probably an old thing from the Japanese War. It was a clear reminder of the bandit group's great power and resources. We watched for a moment, then quietly rowed back. As we moved back, we could hear voices from the rock, laughing and talking loudly. The men up there were speaking a language from Luzon. I have studied languages from around the world very well. Once, over a year ago, I even escaped a very dangerous situation in Tibet using a special drum language, so I understood them perfectly. They were 2 bad guards, talking loudly about women. Not wanting to warn them, we left quietly. Soon, we returned to the cave where our speedboat was parked. Since the rock formed a ring, we had only searched half of it in one direction. We changed direction, rowing the other way along the rock. Soon, both Song Jian and I saw a faint light moving from a cave ahead. Our hearts beat faster. We moved very carefully, the oars going into the water without a sound. The rubber small boats moved quietly across the surface. In moments, we reached the cave's entrance. Together, we leaned forward, looking inside. A speedboat was parked there, exactly the same shape as the one we had found earlier, which belonged to Bai Kiwei. Light came from its cabin. Song Jian and I exchanged a signal, then rowed closer, bending low in the small boats. From the cabin, a woman's voice was heard. "This must be it. The steel plates clearly say Thassel Island. It is definitely here." A man replied, "No doubt, but we can only look. We cannot go onto that island to search for the money." Song Jian and I looked at each other. He whispered, "Your cousin?" I nodded. "And your brother?" He nodded back. On that speedboat were Red and Song Fu.